All right, so what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of We Got Next. I'm one of your hosts of the show, Hayes, aka Shifty, and this one is going to be focused around the Reptilian Renegade. For anyone that's been paying attention to this, it's been basically the talk of the town since probably last night to this morning, and there's various different parts that play a factor in everything that I'm about to talk about. The first one is potential is or is it not related to Balloonsville, and then Reptilian Renegade, of course, and then also Hydra Launchpad. So those are the three. Hydra Launchpad is the same ones behind Sea Shanties. They're also going to be the ones, as of right now, behind Tripinate Tribe. But the other big issue is not just necessarily the um, Reptilian Renegade itself and then the Balloonsville people, but it's also the people that got the whitelist tokens is another aspect of it, the advisor of how these whitelist tokens were administered, and then also the rarity aspect. So for starters, a couple of days ago, Reptilian Renegade was sitting over 40 Solana. Then, of course, everyone knows what happened. It started to drop. So just here's a little bit of how the different recent purchases have gone. You can end up looking back even 4 hours is as far back as it'll go right now with the sheet, which just shows you so many people are buying. It's gone up. It dropped to within the last 4 hours. It dropped to as low as 5.9. You could see there was a 5, there was a 5.1 as well. And then just going into how many are listed right now, 532 are listed, 4,000 is the total collection supply. But that's just starting here. And then you can also see they did have their eyes was another part of it. So the Reptilian Renegade, they had their basically the PFPs, then they had the lizard eyes, and people were so hyped for like the lizard eyes as well. 263 are listed right now. Some people were buying them for high prices. But I'm giving you a background on this aspect first, then we'll end up diving into, so you can go back 6 hours for this one. So they've been around one. I did see one that was higher than one, but for the most part, they're all sitting at around 1 to 2 Solana. But going into basically everything, so I'll read you what Hydra Labs end up putting out. So I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll just read a decent part of it. So Hydra Launchpad said to the community of Reptilian Renegade, last night our CEO, Prez Solana, was notified privately that Fuopist, RR's founder, intended to rug holders and the Hydra team. In a long, delicate, and at times dark conversation between Prez and Fuopist, allegedly and of his own claim, the same individual that rugged Balloonsville. So they're saying Fuopist is the same one behind Balloonsville. Prez was able to understand this individual's motivations for rugging not just Balloonsville allegedly and RR, Reptilian Renegade, but the entire Web3 space, further emphasizing the importance of trust and security in an ever-growing decentralized space. Rest assured that the team at Hydra Launchpad had protocols in place to safeguard the RR community as best as possible. Our developers worked quickly behind the scenes to retrieve the mint authority, and our escrow system ensured that Hydra still holds our share of the mint proceeds. All secondary market royalties are now flowing into Hydra Launchpad wallets, and Fuopist cannot receive any further funds from this project. The team at Hydra understands that this may be a difficult emotional labyrinth to navigate, as Fuopist was able to create deep-rooted connections within the community and has not only caused financial damages to you as the holders, but also violate the sacred bond that a project owner has with their community. And it goes on to end up basically saying the next part is, as we mentioned, Hydra's prepared to deal with dire situations like this. And I'll leave it with that, because if you're ever to end up listening to any of the calls that they had today, so Ice Knife was one of them that was talking. Also, they're supposed to be end up talking to the one behind Fuopist, aka the Balloonsville person, but also Hydra Launchpad had their own, and Prez was on there as well. And just something that was big about that one is they basically said that they had the people in place to be able to take over Reptilian Renegade. So they created a new Twitter account for Reptilian Renegade. They explained that it's difficult to end up getting rid of the current Reptilian Renegade once they had to make a 2.0, aka just like Balloonsville made a 2.0. So that's what happened on the surface. Now I'll end up explaining to you some background stuff. So for everyone that knows, I made a video before during the Balloonsville one, so you can go back and check that one out. But they had a Balloonsville 1, then a Balloonsville 2.0. They basically were proving to Magic Eden that there was a loophole around, which is why there's doxing now on Magic Eden. So that's the big thing about Magic Eden, the doxing aspect. Well, that's the case. Magic Eden had a whole big thing that they had to stop different NFTs from launching on their launchpad during that time. But since then, they have doxing, they have escrow and stuff so that people can't run off with the bag. So continuing going forward within this one, they ended up exposing Hydra Launchpad in this sense because they waited until escrow was basically finished. He got the funds that were held in escrow, and he was basically saying that that wasn't the full reason why he did this. He was exposing the system. Then I don't think you'll be able to see it because he was going in and out of his account working and it wasn't working. And me personally, I don't know if just saying this. So Reptilian Renegade, yeah, I don't think it's not working right now because they end up nixing it again. But Reptilian Renegade had an account that was up and he was still tweeting, exposing people. And that's the biggest thing that people don't understand. And I will say this on record. I don't care if this ends up getting canceled or not, but he basically said most of these influencers that are out here, you think that they're able to trade so well during this market, but they're not really able to trade. They're just using the little people or the regular everyday person like you and I to pump their bags. And that's how they're able to make it. If they call out, oh, Reptilian Renegades, the next pick, people are going to buy that. If they already have a big bag of it, their bags are going to go up. They can sell. You guys are the exit liquidity because you're trying to buy and thinking it's about to run up. So he was talking about that and how a lot of influencers aren't necessarily good traders. The next thing that he brought up was people were thinking that they were whitelist for everyone. I even saw a tweet of Easy Eat. He purchased a Reptilian Renegade token, whereas 3 people were able to get like 50 whitelist spots. Another one had like 30, and they were able to get such a big bag because of one of these advisors. And one of these advisors, he was holding on to a lot of these whitelist tokens. So when you have that happening, that's another flaw in the system. And then he was also exposing, and most of this I will say, because I was around for like the Balloonsville one, I know some people are saying it isn't. If I had to say, I'd probably say 75 to 80% sure it's the Balloonsville one. Just by the way he is exposing the system again this time, I do believe it. But only thing is that makes you think the other 20%, maybe it's not. He did it in a kind of humble way that he talked positive about them. Whereas before, he didn't fully talk positive about some. Like he was going in, the Balloonsville person was going in on some of those Magic Eden people. So I wouldn't be surprised if they all worked as a team, if anything. But so yeah, he exposed the Magic Eden people, and then he exposed the Hydra Launchpad people. Then he started exposing influencers, which the influencer aspect I do like. I think that's something that people like to sugarcoat, and that's something I fully believe needs to be out there for everyone to end up understanding. He also was talking about the rarities, like the more rare ones were minted at the end, and that's like some of the people within the Hydra Launchpad were able to mint them because they had inside information on it. So that was another concern as well. And Hydra Launchpad has started to do some quality control, I would say, or damage control to assure that that's not necessarily the case. For me, still, it's a red flag that if you guys knew that that was something that was happening, why didn't you guys do something to alleviate that situation? Don't just sit around and end up still being like, you know what, you're right. No, if you guys are a launch pad, you shouldn't necessarily be the first ones getting things. You should allow your holders to be the ones that can mint the rare ones, or if anything, redo it if you're noticing that you guys are getting the rare ones. So if that's the case, but this isn't going to be a biased aspect in terms of that point of view. The other thing I do want to end up bringing up is the point that he said, well, people have also said last night or so, they noticed Hydra Launchpad people were selling their Reptilian Renegades, and the public didn't have all this inside information until today. I know I was end up leaving work and I'm seeing like all these different messages. I'm seeing like Erkin, I'm seeing Easy Eats, I'm seeing Ice Knife. All these different people are saying things, and then you're like, hold up, what the hell really happened? So that's how I started to find out. And by this point, you know that everybody else had already sold theirs. So you don't have the same 40 Solana. Now it's under 10. But currently, Hydra Launchpad has taken them over. They did have a call today to just talk about everything, to start doing their customer service aspect with it. Whether it helps or not, we'll end up seeing. The next big thing is the Trip and Ape Tribe is next week. So we'll see how that one turns out, especially because that's an extremely hyped one. Some people are saying that this will affect Trip and Ape Tribe in the sense of they have so much to live up to. So we'll see if it ends up continuing to go that way. Some people are saying that they need to go to a different launch pad. Of course, one is like Soulport Tom's that they're saying they should end up migrating to. It might be a little late to do that. I mean, they do have some time, but it might be a little late for them to switch if they're still anticipating minting on May 24th. So at this point, we will see what ends up happening, because launch pads have been a big thing. Some come and go, some are around to stay. We'll end up seeing that, but currently right now, Reptilian Renegade this account is owned by Hydra Launchpad. I would still recommend to everybody to randomly sometimes just type in Reptilian Renegade to see if you can end up finding some of the old tweets that are out there. But yeah, even going on what like Ice was saying, Ice said that he spoke to the Balloonsville Rugger for 2 hours. It's going to be on the podcast tonight. So just check that out. It was Soul Legend and Ice Knife that ended up talking to him. So we'll end up seeing what happens with that. It was something big. It was crazy that a lot of people were talking about that. But yeah, this is a lot of different things that are happening. And this is good. Like Ice put these two up. It's a big thing. I really do like that he did expose people in that sense. I really do like that. He needed to have some people shaking in their boots. The people are too calm, thinking that, oh, we'll never get called out. He exposed them. He also ended up telling things about Frank, and Frank said, you know what, part of this is facts. He needs to continue to work on building instead of focusing so much on tweeting and stuff. So there was validity to what he said as well, maybe not to the extreme extent, but for some people out there to be like, you know what, that's right. I do like that. So we'll end up seeing what happens. That's the big thing. I just wanted to give you my thoughts and just say what happened with the whole Reptilian Renegade. If you were around for the Balloonsville, you already know this. For people that are saying, I don't want him to be in this space again, you probably haven't been around since Balloonsville, because my man is going to be around again. If it's the same Balloonsville person, he might not ever work with some of these launch pads, but there are so many other NFT chains out there, like blockchains that have NFTs. He can go to Near if he wants. He can go to Leave Zero if he wants. Avalanche if he wants to. He can go to Ethereum. Like, there's so many different things he can do if this is the same person. So you always have to do your due diligence. Even when you do your own due diligence, it's sometimes not enough. For people out there saying the writing was on the wall, was it? People said that with Balloonsville, but also at Balloonsville, my man said he was going to come out again and do it again just to watch. And it was going to be a hyped one. So you can go back and check. It's good that they are trying to bring this one back up, but I'm curious how they're going to do the development and stuff for this. That'll be my big thing, or what is going to be on your roadmap, what's going to be on your goals, things of that nature. But those are my initial thoughts, and that's everything from today. We'll continue to monitor this situation. Make sure to tune in next week as well, because I'll, of course, put this on and just talk about it, because this was a big story that was out there. But this is Reptilian Renegade. This happened today. Always do your own research. Make sure to continue to dive deeply and don't just believe these influencers that are out there. Always do that. Again, none of this is financial advice. So hopefully everybody continues to focus, stay on the grind. It's a decentralized market that we're in. So this is what we all wanted, the Wild Wild West. shit'll happen sometimes. You're not really deep into this if you haven't gotten rugged once. So continue to watch it. Always be cautious. I personally have been rugged a couple of times in terms of cryptocurrencies. And then sometimes I've caught in the short end of the stick with some of these NFTs. But that's all we got over here. Hayes, AO Shifty, appreciate it. We out.